Okay, our next topic is the limbic system. Oh my gosh, I could pretty much teach an entire course about this topic right here. It's so interesting. I love it. So what is the limbic system? Well, it's a group of brain structures responsible for a lot of things like memory processing, like our emotional responses, like fight or flight responses, aggression, sexual response, like a whole lot is going on. Okay, so remember when we did parietal lobe, we talked about the five, like well, it was 4, not 5. But for this, we're going to talk about 5 F's. So what are they? So feeding, so hunger, satiety, so like feeling full. Forgetting, memory. Fighting, our emotional responses. Family, so sexual reproduction, our maternal, paternal, family instincts. And fornicating, sexual arousal. So feeding, forgetting, fighting, family, fornicating. Feeding, forgetting, fighting, family, fornicating. Feeding, forgetting, fighting, family, fornicating. Can you say them? Feeding, fighting, forgetting, family, fornicating. 5 F's with the limbic system. Let's focus on a few parts of the limbic system. So we have the thalamus, and the thalamus is like the sensory relay. And that's the big thing to remember about it. Then we have the hippocampus. Love this. Hippocampus is long-term memory, so it's going to store it. So we learn, we remember locations, we remember people, especially faces. It connects our emotions, our senses, our memories. So we can make a stronger connection to a memory by having other senses involved. So with smell. Okay, so if there's a smell that you are associated with like a happy memory or a sad or traumatic memory, your hippocampus is responsible for making those connections. So they say sometimes that if you have a scent around you when you're studying and you have the same scent around you when you are taking the exam, that you might have better recall because your hippocampus might have helped to store those memories better. We have the hypothalamus, and that is responsible for homeostasis. So it's hunger, it's thirst, it's heart rate, it's body temperature, blood pressure, sexual activity, stress response. Oh my goodness, so much going on. It's basically hypothalamus homeostasis. So it links our nervous system and our endocrine system. And so it regulates the pituitary gland. That's the master gland of the endocrine system. So the hypothalamus, responsible for homeostasis, is the link between our nervous system and our endocrine system. And it does that through the pituitary gland. And then we have the amygdala, also fascinating. So amygdala is emotional response. It's happiness, it's rage, it's fear, it's anger, it's anxiety, it's aggression, those intense emotions. So our memory of and our response to strong emotions. So when a memory has a strong emotional context, the amygdala is involved. And that may absolutely affect how long and how well that memory is maintained. So what happens when the limbic system is damaged? A lot can happen. So what about if there's damage to the hippocampus? Remember, the hippocampus was memory. So if there's damage to the hippocampus, it has an effect on memory. And usually it affects our ability to form new memories. So, and it can affect our spatial memory, like directions, locations, recognizing people. So there's something called anterograde amnesia. And this is the most typical type of amnesia. And it's most likely damage to the hippocampus, and it interferes with memory. How? Well, the brain is actually like receiving new information. It's encoding it, it's storing it, but the person who has anterograde amnesia can't access that. So it's like, I don't know, they got filed in a junk drawer. They're unable to be retrieved. So what happens with anterograde amnesia is there is a traumatic event. It could be trauma, it could be an event. Okay? And typically, memories before the event are maintained, but new memories just aren't formed. Okay? Sometimes there are some memories right prior to the event that are lost, but not everything. So you might remember things from your childhood, but things that happened say a few months or a few years ago, you might lose, and then lose the ability to form new memories. This is obviously problematic. So one movie where this is kind of the theme of the movie is in Memento, and Leonard Shelby, the character, does suffer from the inability to form new memories, and he uses a lot of strategies to kind of help himself, like writing, taking pictures, you can see here, putting tattoos. And then we have the movie 50 First Dates. We have Lucy Whitmore, who's one of the main characters. And then we also have someone who is featured in the hospital that you visit, which is 10 Second Tom. What about when there's damage to the amygdala? Well, interesting, it can result in no fear, but it can also result in poor decision making, because remember, it is impacted by strong emotions, so we could end up with impaired emotional memory, so we don't make those same connections. Okay, and that can be problematic because a situation that should evoke some fear response might not with damage to the amygdala. So again, no fear, which absolutely can be problematic because we need like a little bit of fear to help us avoid what would be dangerous situations. And there you have it. That's the limbic system. I hope you learned something new today.